Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for returning, for joining me again. So what I'm doing today is a hashtag. It's a collaboration hashtag with 3 other channels. I will be putting all their channels down below. And so what we are doing is we are touching on 4 different topics. So week 1, it's going to be 6 witchy tips. Week 2, it's going to be memory and focus. Week 3, it's going to be about the Fae. And week 4, it's going to be about the elements. So this one is the very first one. And I forgot to mention it's called Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays. And the first one is on the 6 witchy tips. So what I put down for my 6 witchy tips that I wanted to talk about was the first one. And this is more for, like, I would say witchy tips for beginners for me, because I still consider myself like a beginner witch. Okay, so one thing that I really want to stress is to remember that you are the magical tool, okay? Meaning, one of the things that held me up for a while, because I've been reading and studying about witchcraft, different types of witchcraft and stuff like that for maybe 7 years. Although some things that would still be considered kind of witchy, it's been much longer than that. I mean, maybe 20 years, you know, like the law of attraction. I see that as like a component of witchcraft, at least the way I feel about it, okay, what witchcraft is. But so I would say that I was held back. I held myself back because of reading a few different books that talk about, oh, you got to have this tool, and you've got to have this tool, and you've got to have this tool in order to perform this kind of magic, yada, yada, yada. So because I didn't have those things, and I don't like doing anything backwards or not as good as I could, let's say, to a point of being a perfectionist. So it hindered me until I felt like I had the items that I needed. Now, a lot of my magical practices has nothing to do with just the power of my mind and then my actions, the choices that I make, right? So that's the #1 tip. Remember that you're the tool. You don't need anything else. You can, but you don't need anything else in order to start practicing. Another thing that I wanted to show you is blowing out candles. I'm sure that you've heard many times that in order to have the magic continue to go, that you need to use a, like you have to snuff it out, right? Use one of these. And you can. Oops, that didn't even work. Okay, so I just snuffed it out. And that's perfectly fine because I just started it, all right? But it irritates me to use one of these if it's been burning for a long time, which the majority of my candles I don't burn just for a couple of minutes. I burn them for, you know, at least a couple of hours, and then we've got a big pool. So then in order to put it out, you got to dip it, and the wax gets all on the bottom, and it just friggin' irritates me. So I decided one day, listen, I'm a witch. I can come up with whatever I want, right? So this is what I do. Instead of using a snuffer, and you can use this for 1 candle, or you can use this for 10 candles or whatever, all at the same time. But I do try to stick to, let's say for instance, if this was a healing candle. So instead of snuffing it out so that the power continues, or the energy continues to go, I made a little spell, and I put, although I extinguish this candle with a blow, the healing energy continues to grow. And it continues to go. So that was just a little trick. Now, if it was a prosperity candle, then you would say, you know, or if you want to just do a general and say the magical properties continue to grow or continue to go, however you want. But remember, you are the tool. You're the one that decides what's right for you, right? So that was tip number 2. Tip number 3 was the most, I think, honestly, there's many components to good spell work and making that spell work. One is obviously your intentions. Not obviously. If you're new, you might not realize. So intentions, okay? If you're making a spell, for me, I feel it is important to write a spell that is already portraying what has happened. So instead of, I want this, or I hope for this, like a technical prayer, and I look at spell work like a prayer on steroids, like an efficient way of praying. So I would say, instead of, I want this, I would say, and the universe brought me this, or I am grateful that I have this, or it's all in how the perspective, because it's the law of attraction too. So like I had stated before, like in The Secret, they had mentioned about like Mother Teresa and asking her whether or not she would attend an anti-war rally, and she said, no, you would find me at a pro-peace rally. It's all about how you focus your energy. But the most important thing is, after you've done it, you have to believe, like in the placebo effect, right? That proves, in the placebo effect right there, is concrete proof that magic exists, because by our beliefs alone, it worked in your body. So if by your own beliefs it worked in your body, then it's by believing that we make things manifest. So whenever you're thinking, oh, this is kind of silly, or I don't believe this is going to happen, it's not going to happen if you don't believe it. So believe it. Believe as if it's already happened, and you will see things manifest. Another thing, you can take what I'm saying right now, or you can just throw it out the window. Do your practice the way that you feel called to do your practice. Me, what I do is I read lots of material, and then my own things that I have, thought growing up, my religious influences and metaphysical influences, my love of crystals, my love of herbs, whatever, and I pull all those things together. Maybe a certain goddess or a god calls to me that might not be from what would typically be considered a pantheon that I should stick with. It doesn't matter. You do what feels right to you, what you feel called to do. That's the whole point of having a practice on your terms, your way. And that's why you're also going to believe it more, because it's coming from you, right? Another tip is spell work. Spell work can be easy, just like the little spell that I just did, blowing out the candle, right? It can be that easy, or it can be as complex as you choose it to be. It doesn't mean that it's going to be any less or any more powerful. It can be simple. It just comes down to a few different ingredients, in my opinion, which is intent, belief, and then trusting. Well, that's where the belief is. Trusting that it's going to come about, right? So, but you can also add other things on top of that, other correspondences. Do some research. Like, for instance, I like layering mine, which is pretty much another one that I was going to put on here, which is compounding correspondences. So, like, for instance, I will look at numerology and like what is considered the most prosperous number, okay, in numerology, if I'm trying to do like a prosperity spell. And then I will look at and do research, and you don't have to have all these books, you can, but do research on what herbs are known for prosperity and abundance and wealth and money, and those can come from different cultures. Other things that you can attribute to like prosperity would be like a gold coin. It doesn't actually have to be a gold coin. It can be a representation of a gold coin for you. It can be like paper money that you make yourself, right? Or like a check that you write to the universe and you put in your wallet, and that's one part of a spell. So I like compounding spells. That was another tip. And then the last tip, well, a couple other tips really. The tip I would also say is, one of the reasons that from what I understand, why people have covens, why witches join covens, is because not only that camaraderie, but also because they are like joining all their powers together, right? So it's strengthening that. You know, I think I had even read somewhere that if you add, I think probably something biblical or religious, that 3 or more people in a prayer together or joining together makes it that much more powerful. So if you're a solitary witch and you want to be solitary and you don't want to join in with others, purchase other or get other witches items, like a witchy oil or a witchy salt that they've created, or a witchy candle that they created, and then add yours, and then maybe a few other witches to like something that's really important to you, some sort of spell work that you're working. So gather up things from other witches, because they are already putting their energy into that main thing, that main purpose. So when you compound yours on top of it, it's almost like being in a coven without actually being in a coven, because you're compounding all that energy. And then the last thing that I would say is, find some good books that resonate with you. If you can't find any books and you don't have a whole lot of money, Google. If you're online, which if you're watching this, you're probably online. So Google. Whatever you're looking for, just Google it. There's so much wealth of information, and I'm not saying take somebody else's word for it. When it comes to witchcraft, it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter. It's whatever calls to you and seems right to you, because you're the ultimate tool. You put your energy into it, and that's how you manifest, because of that strong belief. You can take rose quartz, okay, beautiful rose quartz, and we know that rose quartz is it's a very compassionate and loving stone. But let's say rose quartz is the only crystal that you have, and you want to do prosperity work. Then you use it for prosperity. You know, use your intent, use your intentions, and then your belief, and instill it into whatever you're working with. Even if you don't have a rose quartz, go out in your yard and grab a stone, or write something on a piece of paper, or an object that you have in your home. It doesn't really matter, because you are the tool. So there you go, guys. That was my 6 witchy tips, and this is under the hashtag Witchy Wisdoms Wednesdays. And there, I will be putting the 3 other ladies that are joining in on this every week, other channels. If you want to join in and you have more tips and you want to join in the other ones, I will be putting a list down below of what each week is, and it's going to be every Wednesday in this month. And then we'll see if it gets extended further than that. But I hope to see other people join in, because it's fun. It's a way for us to, you know, learn from each other and just feel like that strong community, that interwoven community that we are. So I'm sending you guys love and light. Thank you so much.